Fuck yes, welcome back to the Hype with me, your host, as always, Brian Dressel. With me, as always, is Jonathan Hardesty.
Yo.
Ryan James.
Yes, I am.
Chewy cannot be here today. I'm not going to say my wife is dead because that's a little grim, so I'm going to say because she's on the moon. And special guest today, we have Philip Kelly.
Hi.
And Jamie Sarche. Am I saying that right?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. I feel so validated now.
You pronounced my name wrong, by the way.
Well,
Then how do I pronounce your name? I'm sorry.
Kalai.
Kalai? Okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
for today anyway.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, it's just in your favor that you pronounce my name right. If you hadn't, I would have had to beat you down to death.
We just hear the boom, boom, boom of you beating me with a microphone. Yeah, that'd be great.
Next week, when one of us starts, it's like, yeah, Brian couldn't be here today because of, check the last episode. He was beat to death.
He actually is dead.
His microphone was somewhere he doesn't want it to be.
He said he quits. So really quick before we get into what we've been doing, we're going to do a nice plug section for Philip and Jamie here. Phil, where can people find you online? What do you have going on? What's exciting about you?
I'm on Facebook. I'm on as Philip Kelly. Twitter, Philip, a.k.a. Buddy. I believe that is my...
Philip, a.k.a. Buddy?
Yeah, I play a character called Mr. Buddy.
Oh, okay.
A silent vaudeville character. So
Nice.
It's just
Cool.
a mishmash of that. No, I'm doing some improv stuff over at taking courses at UCB, and I've got an indie team that does some stuff at the clubhouse. What else do? That's kind of the main focus thing that you can see me actually do in the world right now.
That's cool.
So,
Jamie, what about you? What do you have going on?
Well, I'm about to launch a website called The Real Blonde. It's REEL. So clever. And I'm on Instagram under that same name. So that's a new thing that's coming up. So please follow me because I only have like 80 followers.
It's more than I have.
It's more than most people have.
Okay, so for us, you can find us on Facebook at After the Hype. You can find us on Twitter at ATH_podcast. You can find us everywhere else online at ATH Podcast. And if you want to email us and be really cool, it's athpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, tell us what movies we should do or give us opinions about our looks. I don't know.
Yeah, or, send
the
us
weirdest
hate mail.
email you can possibly think of.
Yeah, weird, hateful, whatever you want to send us, we're open to it.
Dick pics.
Not dick pics. If you say dick pics, the dick pics will come.
Yeah, that's like the field of dicks. Like, you don't want that.
It's really just wishful thinking that anyone listens to our podcast.
Yeah, that's what it is.
We'll feel validated if you send us dick pics.
Oh, dick pics!
That's our new form of metrics. It's like, well,
how many dicks did we get this week? Oh, that's a lot of dicks.
We're gonna go to advertisers with this.
Yeah,
we get 50 dick pics a week. We're a 50 dick pic podcast. See your brand, Downey. Get the little film festival laurel. 50 dick pic podcast.
Instead of laurels, it's just dicks. Great. Okay, so we'll do a where have you been doing. Jamie, do you want to start us off? What have you been up to? Where have you been doing?
Oh shit. God, what have I been doing? On Sunday I went to Smorgasburg, LA, downtown.
Oh, that's fun.
It sucked. Like
That's
there's
not
like
fun.
there's like all this there's all this hype about it like being so great and all these photos like on Google and their website are like just like thousands of food vendors and it looks fucking amazing. And we got there and like first of all it's like in this parking lot with this giant very full dumpster that's just like wafting garbage smell all over the food, which was terrible.
True downtown LA experience.
Yeah, and then there were only like 20 fucking vendors, and there were only like out of those 20, there was like 5 different types of food, and that was it. So I found it really disappointing, and I don't think I'd recommend it until they get better vendors. Like I'd rather go to like the Union Market or something. But
were they food trucks? What are they? Because I haven't been.
there's a couple of trucks, but it's more like tents that they set up.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was kind of like. Like not that great, but
they promised an experience, but you got a flea market instead.
I mean, it's really one of those things I've always heard.
It's not even a good flea market. Like it happens on a Sunday. I could have gone to like the Rose Bowl or something. That would have been way better. But
well, now you know.
Yeah, I've always heard to go, and I'm like, I don't like waking up.
Nah.
No, yeah,
Don't we all?
It's you know what? It's a hard pass for me. It's too fucking far. I live in the valley. I don't want to drive downtown again for that.
Everything
like,
is
to
too
be
far. Yeah.
Disappointed. Yeah, fuck it.
Phil, what about you? Where have you been doing?
Well, because of the improv stuff I mentioned, I've been going to see a lot of shows.
Oh, fun.
There's some very good ones like Convoy, Bangarang. I saw one the other week. There was a text message show where they read text messages, and this guy read this conversation that he had with one of his friends in prison that was the most misogynistic exchange anybody in the audience has ever heard. And then they had to do improv based on that. And he thought it was hilarious. Awesome. He thought it was hilarious. So
That sounds great.
Ryan, what about you? What have you been doing?
I'm going to do another installment of Ryan's Comic Corner today.
Comic Corner!
Yeah, woo! Ironically, we record this before Wednesday, so these will be last week's comics if you're listening today. But
Never on time.
Never on time. Ryan's Comic Corner. I don't know anyone who reads comics the week they come out anyway. But
What up?
last week, a couple good ones. Invincible Iron Man actually is getting really good, and so is Amazing Spider-Man. A lot of number ones kind of relaunched with the Marvel Now last week. Got Jessica Jones number one. Brian Michael Bendis back with Gatos. What's his first name? The artist.
Shit.
But
That started again last week.
yeah.
I gotta find it.
Yeah.
It's tough to find.
Really
I
good.
imagine.
Yeah.
I like that they use the same face model as Scarlet. And I
Yeah.
did not know that until I picked it up. I'm like, oh, that's
really?
Scarlet.
That's
No,
awesome.
it's definitely just the...
For you talking
Jessica Jones.
For Jessica Jones.
Yep.
It's
Great.
Actually, Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, appears in it, and she looks a lot like the actress who played Jessica Jones to me.
that's
which
funny.
Is funny.
That's not going to be confusing.
No, not at all. Another number one last week was Cage. It's the guy who did
Gendy Tartakovsky.
Yeah, there you go. Thank God you're on board to help me with the name.
He's great.
It's really fun throwback to the '70s version of Luke Cage. Deadpool Back in Black number one started. This is the story of following the line of Deadpool's Secret Wars, where Deadpool has injected himself into the original 1970s version of the Secret Wars. This is Deadpool telling the story of when Peter Parker got rid of the black symbiote costume. It actually joined with Deadpool for a little while. Nobody
Nice.
knew about it before
Nice.
it found Venom. So this is the story of that.
That's awesome.
Dope.
Death of X number one came out, which is the story of why the X-Men are dying off, and it's terrible. I don't recommend anyone pick that up.
Is it just them going, well, because Marvel doesn't own the film rights, so
Yeah, basically.
we're just going to kill off the
Yeah.
characters.
Cyclops is like, I can't be in a movie. And he shoots himself in the face with his eye beams. He just opens up his eye beams in the mirror and he dies. Now, this is a dual story. It's Jeff Lemire. Is that who's doing
Jeff
the X-Men?
Lemire, yeah.
And then Charles Soule is doing the Inhumans, and it's like this interwoven story of how the Terrigen mist is, flowing over the world and giving all these Inhumans their powers and birth, and like they're literally dancing through daisies chasing butterflies.
It's their renaissance, basically.
And what they don't realize is that the same mist is killing off the X-Men. So it's like the X-Men going through this really dark, brutal time, and it's really weird.
And the thing is, Jeff Lemire is such a great writer.
Yeah.
Great writer.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate to see that.
He's been doing great with X-Men too. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah.
Which book is he writing for X-Men? Or there's just one X-Men book now, right? Isn't there?
There's like 4.
Yeah, I think is he doing Uncanny?
I think he might be doing Uncanny. Yeah.
Another Image comic came out called Moonshine. They're like doing a bunch of number ones too. I guess jumping on board with Marvel and DC. Really good story of moonshiners in the South.
John, what about you? Where have you been doing?
Well, for my birthday, I got the game City Skylines from Steam. So I got to play that. I've been looking at that one for a while because I've been had a SimCity kind of been wanting to play that for a while, but it's not really on Mac, and the newer games kind of didn't do very well.
Yeah.
They sucked.
And this one's actually pretty good. It's the learning curve is a little tough. I had to actually watch some tutorials to kind of. They don't have a really good onboarding process, like tiny text that pops up really quick and then goes away, and you're like, "Oh shit, what was that? That must have been a really important thing for the city. Oh god, my city's ruined." So I had to slow it down and all that. But once I figured it out, it was really fun, and I lost a lot of time with that. I was like, I'll just play for a couple minutes. I'll get my residential built up, and then I can put schools. Oh, cool! I never put it there, and then a couple weeks later, I'm here.
A couple real life weeks, not game weeks.
Right.
But if you're doing good in the game, you're doing good in life.
That's true.
But yeah, no. Apart from the steep learning curve and being very Dark Souls about not telling you how to do anything, it's still pretty fun. And I think with polish and maybe sequels, and if they can get to make more of those games, it'll be pretty fun. Like really, really good. It'll definitely be better than SimCity. And is better than SimCity, this newest one.
I jumped on board about a year ago, and I was amazed to find on Reddit. Have you been to the subreddit for it?
I didn't know there was one.
Oh,
Check
yeah.
it out.
There's a
This is really
subreddit
important
for
to you.
everything.
Yeah.
But there's an
Except
actual
No Man's Sky.
a real life traffic engineer made this huge sticky post on the Reddit to how to make circle cities so that your traffic flows in circles all the time and you never get slowdowns. It's like this geniusly engineered thing. And
I gotta read that. That sounds so cool.
Of course, cars in the game don't behave like real traffic at all, so
They're pretty-
you have to really hack the system to make this work. But it's
Right.
really fun.
Yeah, I know, and yeah, It's fun. It's light, fairly simple, nothing too great, but like you can still zoom into the city and it's pretty detailed.
Now, if I never liked SimCity, will I like this?
Probably not.
No.
Okay.
It is not revolutionary. Like it's not bringing new people in. It
No.
is-
Okay, I got you. It's just it fills the void that SimCity has left.
Yeah.
Right.
So mine, really quick. I finished Luke Cage,
Oh, nice.
and it is It's funny how it both makes me go, I'm not sure how much I like these Netflix shows because they're all very, very formulaic. You can almost guess the plot points by episode, beat by beat by beat, which is kind of disappointing. But at the same time, I think it's the best one they've had. Like, they've done the formula now so many times, they've kind of perfected it. And Luke Cage is great. I think Mike Coulter is fantastic. I really, really like him in the role. He kind of flubs a little bit, not flubs, he kind of goes a little on some of the more dramatic moments. But for the most part, I thought he was fantastic. And I thought the show was great. I thought Rosario Dawson was great. The action was good. It was a very, very good show. I just kind of was like, if Iron Fist has this same sort of thing around episode 8 or 9, he's going to get injured or taken out of it, and the other power is going to rise up a little bit.
Spoilers.
And come back.
Spoilers.
It's like, it's going to be, I mean, it's not spoilers if you know it's going to happen every time. It's just disappointing at that point. Anyhow, we love DC, or at least I do, and therefore the podcast does.
I love Marvel too.
I love Marvel as well.
I do love Marvel.
I just want them
I
to get
love
their shit
nothing.
together.
Yeah. I'm only reading, I only have one Marvel book on my pull list now, and that's Jessica Jones. It's just because Bendis is back.
And I've heard it's really good.
I've heard it's not. I've actually heard
weird.
very, very angry things about the book. Like, it's not what I wanted.
Of Jessica Jones?
Yeah.
Oh.
A lot of fan rage who wanted it to be just like the show, and it's not. And
Well,
they're like,
But the show was kind of.
Oh, I
like,
definitely
I was
wanted
really
the show.
excited for the show because I wanted like a tough, like, female-led superhero character. Like, I thought it was going to be really dope, and it kind of was. There were a lot of things that I liked about it, but I hated that it was like she could have taken out the villain like so many times and just didn't, and that to me like really drug on. And then the end when she finally does, and it's like so lackluster, like it's just so disappointing. Like there's no feeling of being like, yes, finally. It was just like, really, fuck, like this just happened in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Now he's gone, and we just spent 10 fucking episodes building up to this like, oh, he can't be stopped, and now it was like 2 seconds for her to like take him out, and I was like, that's it. That's it.
I kind of feel like that's a little bit of a theme of the comic book, though, where her whole life is just like, oh, fuck.
I agree with you, but when it comes to the show, we're not reading the book. I want to watch the show have a fun climactic ending. I totally agree with you. I did not like the ending of Jessica Jones, but I think
fair.
Jessica Jones would have been an amazing 8-episode series.
Yeah.
13 was way too many. For
I mean,
that
like if you're building the story like by reading it, like fine, take your time with it. But when you've got like 10 episodes and the whole thing is supposed to be like, epic and, visually stimulating and entertaining, like that's the point. Like, yeah, I want like more
we
from
want
it.
more.
Fair enough.
Hear that, Marvel? Hear that, Netflix?
Yeah.
Marvel? the 5 people in this room want more.
Yeah.
We speak for everybody.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the way it works on the internet. We all speak for
Just-
everybody.
We are the loudest people on the internet right now about this issue, the 5
right.
of us.
Just make Jessica Jones this psychopathic, like serial killer of bad guys.
I would watch the shit out
Just
of
a
that.
fucking
Amazing.
tornado.
Oh, that's gonna-
punting.
Have you read Hack Slash?
Oh,
If you have not read Hack Slash, you should read Hack Slash.
And that should segue us into Ash.
Yeah.
Hack Slash and Ash.
That was a
There we
good
go.
series.
I didn't read it.
It actually
Unfortunately.
completely falls apart about halfway through, but it
Aw.
starts really fun. But yeah, so speaking of Ash, we can talk about The Evil Dead as week 2 of our low-budget horror movie month continues.
The best week.
Yeah,
The cheapest week.
the cheapest.
No,
No, next
it
week's the
wasn't.
cheapest week.
Yeah.
Okay. no, the cheapest weeks. Sorry.
Yes,
I
the
took out an
cheapest
F.
weeks.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, this one was probably the most expensive out of our low budget. This one cost $100,000.
So much money.
Yeah. Actually, they wanted $100,000. I think they ended around like 85 or 90 is what I was reading. I did so much research into this movie. Cool. I actually think the making of this movie is more interesting than the movie.
I did
fascinating.
read up on
Absolutely.
some of that, and I was
It
just
is-
like, what?
When you find out that Joel Cohen helped edit this thing, it's like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
Yeah.
And inspired him to get together with his brother and make
Oh, wow.
Blood
Yeah.
Simple, yeah.
Yeah. Insane.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Um.
But this is a classic, like, low budget experience.
Oh yeah.
Sounds
Everything
like,
about
yeah.
it. And then it made $2.4 million, which is
It did
nice.
okay.
I mean, on $100,000 for nobody and nothing in it. The only reason why they even got more was because Stephen King said it's one of the best horror movies ever made.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
If it wasn't for him watching it, going, that was great. who knows what would have happened?
And when he says that, like, that you did it. No matter what the money you get, it's like, if you got that guy, the guy who kind of master of literature horror, like a modern horror.
Have you read some of his most recent books? I'm not sure about his opinion all the time.
Well, maybe not now. Maybe not now. But
back then, yes, you're
Yeah.
right. Yes, back then he was at the height of his game. But yeah, that's all the numbers, and I'm not going to bother with review because that's just a waste of time. Because everyone fucking loves it, or we still wouldn't have like a show on Stars about it now, which is also pretty good. I've not watched. Has anybody watched the first episode of the new one?
Very curious about it, though.
I'm a little halfway through the first season. I'm a little behind.
Yeah, there's a lull halfway through that season. It really picks up.
Okay, good, because that's why I was. Yeah, I kind of trailed off a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm coming back to it.
I totally get it because about halfway through, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. But then, man, it picks up.
Okay, good.
It's really fun at the end.
Good.
So at this time, we need to do a breakdown. Breakdown. Today, coming to you from Philip Kelly. Are you excited for this, Phil?
I am. Yeah. I haven't thought about a single thing I'm going to say. So this is off the cuff.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We used to not even tell people that they had to do it.
Oh, I would have preferred that.
Really? Because usually what I get is, thank you for letting me know, or that would have been very difficult. Because I sprung it on 2 people in a row who told me afterwards,
You're a
shouldn't have-
dick.
Yeah, you shouldn't have done that.
It's always better to apologize afterwards, I think.
Yeah, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than
Yeah,
permission, but
exactly.
still. Wow, that sounds really horrible.
Hollywood.
Okay, so you ready? Yeah. 30 seconds. John, you ready?
Yep.
Go, 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 go.
5 friends end up in a cabin in the middle of woods. They awaken the demons, and slowly have to fight them off, and eventually fall into hysterics, and most of them die.
You sound so serious about it. Most of them die.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a success. You did it in 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Not-
There you go.
I mean, the movie's a whopping
what-
hour 20. So
What else is there to say about it?
No, you're not wrong. I mean,
there's no big plot twist
I
happening.
guess you
through
could
that
have
makes you
named the
question
characters or
life.
something. Yeah.
Ashley.
Yeah, no.
By the
good
way, I
job.
love his name, Ashley. I've always
Ashley.
loved that name.
Yeah, it
Ashley.
works. I just like it as Ash.
Yeah.
That's great
Like
too.
such a badass name.
No, it is badass. Yeah.
So at this point, because you succeeded, I don't tell people this in the email. You get to make fun of me. If you'd like to, you get 1 free shot.
Why would I want to do that?
Everyone turns me down on this. It is the best confidence booster
Man.
in a weekly basis.
Like
You
I
can
might,
make fun of me.
I might
No,
pick
I
a
don't.
point during the podcast to do that, but I mean,
you know,
right now,
Okay,
I
we may need to do these after.
Yeah. The podcast. Yeah, after I talk to people for an hour, then like, you know what? I hate you. Yeah, that's gonna be great. I'm excited for it. Okay, so we should get started on the movie. Let's start with. Do you guys remember your first time seeing it?
Yes. I think I was about 16 when I saw it for the first time.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's a good age for it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Did you know what you were going into? Like, had you heard about it before?
Yeah, I mean, I I'm sure I saw like the iconic posters of Ash with his chainsaw arm. Not that that was the first one, but you know what I mean?
Right.
Like I knew the character. I kind of knew where it was coming from and everything. So, but yeah, I remember being like, am I supposed to be taking this seriously?
Right.
Or-
Yeah. Is this funny or not?
yeah, exactly. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
I saw them in reverse. I remember my parents were going, and my sister were going to go see Beauty and the Beast, and I'm like, I want to go see this Army of Darkness. And so I broke off and I saw that, and I went to see it a second time. And then I was with my cousins, and you grow up looking at the box art of Evil Dead 2, that skeleton. That's
Skeleton with the eye,
looking
yeah.
at like this weird look on its face, and Roger Ebert is like 3.5 stars, and the skeleton looks so proud about the 3.5 stars. And my cousins and I rented that with Blade Runner one night, and it was one of the most quintessential movie viewing evenings of
That's
my
a
life.
good night of
Yeah.
movies.
It was like my first time watching these 2 films, and then eventually I saw the first Evil Dead, and I was like, wow, that was pretty impressive that he hit most of his stride, like with his first feature film. Like his style was, you could already see it seeping into the cracks, like this
yeah,
definitive sort
absolutely.
of
And
thing that he does.
Yeah, it's fun how the movie doesn't hit it right in the beginning, like that style you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like it really, like as the movie goes, it gets more and more.
It
like
takes like 15. When he walks down the stairs into the
Yeah.
That's when the wide angle lens comes into play, and before that, it feels like a 70s, 60s, 70s grindhouse film.
Right.
Yeah,
kind
and
of
then
cheap looking, and
it just
weird.
gets better and better the more it goes, all the way to when you get to like the shed, and then that's when Joel Cohen started editing, and like
or the camera from above, like upside down as it comes over his head and then finds his face. You're like, that's classic already.
Yeah. He just
got it.
It gets more and more Raimi the more it goes.
Exactly.
It's pretty cool.
It's great.
Ryan, you remember the first time you saw it?
I can't say distinctly, but I definitely remember growing up with like quotes from Evil Dead 2, especially. Someone's in my fruit cellar, you know. And then I eventually saw it, and it's like the same thing. I'm like, I put it on, and I'm like, wait, this is supposed to be like some goofy lampoon, you know, horror movie that I'm watching, and then it gets there by the end.
Yeah,
and it was amazing.
Yeah, it's funny. John, do you remember it?
Sort of. I mean, it had been a little while after I'd seen Drag Me to Hell.
Oh,
and I was like, I should...
Oh, so you saw it late.
Fairly late on.
Yeah.
And I was like, I should go back and just recontextualize, because I've seen almost, dang near everything else except Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2.
You've seen like all like the Spider-Mans, like
all
the Raimi stuff before.
I got to see his mainstream style. So I was like, I got to see where it came from.
It's kind of fun seeing that, like watching Spider-Man and like Drag Me to Hell and all that sort of stuff, and going back to this and going, wow, he was on point.
Yeah.
Right away.
Yeah.
Like, that's a talented man.
It's like I could have predicted these movies.
Yeah.
In a good way, though.
I know I saw Evil Dead 2 first, and then I saw Army of Darkness, and then I went back to Evil Dead. And I remember never being that big of a fan of Evil Dead, because this was all in high school.
Yeah.
And just because Evil Dead 2, it feels like more of what this one wanted to be, because he just had more money and more time, and he wasn't in the woods with his family and friends pissing them off. Like it just kind of felt like more like, if he had time to polish it, this is what it wanted to be.
Yeah.
So Evil Dead is more like it's like dirtier. It's like kind of like grimier movie. And then as I got older, I started liking that more.
Right.
And then it kind of settled at, I'll always watch Evil Dead 2. But still, like it started when I first saw Evil Dead. I'm like, I don't like this at all. Like it did not work for me in the slightest. And then the more I watched it, because it's the way I am.
Well, that was kind of like my reaction is in the beginning, before it starts to kind of go full tilt Raimi, I was just like, I don't know if I'm going to stick with this. Oh, there we go. And then I was on board 100%, but I was like 25, 15. I was losing it in the very beginning, because I was like, well, what is his deal? Like, and then it gets into it. And
there are those really weird shots of like, when the car goes out of control, and the Bruce Campbell's like, suddenly his head is like poked up awkwardly around one side of him, and she's on the other side, and then he looks out the car door on the bridge, and he's like, oh, and he ducks back in. You're like, what is this? What is he doing? What's going on?
See, for me, the point that always made me go, I'm done with this movie, is the almost, I want to say like 5 minutes solid
tree rape?
No, God, I can't even handle it. I watched this at work. I had to skip the tree rape. I'm like, I don't think I should watch this part at work. Yeah. But it's just the 5 minutes of like that noise goes on for like a solid 5 minutes.
Wait, that's my quote. You're talking about when she gets stabbed or whatever?
Yeah,
it's so good.
Now I can watch it. Yeah,
that's
great.
the first hint you get that it's a joke. Like when you're watching the tree branch scene, you're like, ugh, is this supposed to be real?
Yeah.
Yeah, like God, the rape scene is the main reason why Chewie isn't here today. No, it's she's like, I won't talk about it. No,
it's still surprising to this day. Like I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah,
and I was like,
it's the thing that I liked about the new one so much is the new one kind of toned it down a little bit. This first, like the tree rape scene is like, ugh.
Yeah,
like it's
really uncomfortable.
Yeah,
it's just like, what? Okay, what the fuck is
even,
this?
Even he's like back down. He's even in an interview. He was like, "Yeah, I mean, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I was 20."
Right. So it makes a lot of sense for a young guy in the 80s to make that scene.
Yeah, I think anyone with like in their right mind nowadays would be like, maybe we'll imply rape instead of just showing a bunch of trees grab her legs apart. Like, oh God.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
tell you what though, I've been like trying to like craft miniatures and like paint for minis now, and that's some really good stop motion animation. We're working on.
Yeah.
All the stop motion animation in this movie is fantastic.
It is.
But yeah, like that's the one thing. That's the one scene in this movie. I guess we can talk about it if we want to, but it's just the only. It's really the only major. Like, I'm gonna skip that part. For me.
I think we just did.
I had seen so much like really awful anime before that point as a teenager, so that when I got around Evil Dead, I was like, yeah. That was maybe a quarter as bad as what the Japanese have done because they can't show and like dicks.
Yeah.
So they have
Right.
tentacles
Yeah.
instead. So I'm like, I've seen them a lot worse.
As an actor, sometimes I like to, put myself in like the position of being like, what would it have been to film that scene?
Oh yeah, that
And like that's the one scene where I'm like,
And how as a director to tell this actress, hey, okay, these vines are gonna pull your legs apart.
Yeah.
But don't worry, it's fun. It's gonna be okay. I can imagine
scary.
but don't worry, it's gonna be okay. It's all right.
Was it at the beginning of the shoot production schedule or the end? Because that could determine the reaction.
Famously, you do those scenes first.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
otherwise, the end of the shoot, like, all right, we're going to do this thing. Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And good luck reshooting the whole movie because I'm not doing it.
This is probably one of those scenes too where I think the actress may have been older than Sam Raimi at the time. So how creepy is that? When you got this kid like, yep, you're gonna do this.
Yeah, and then it's going to pull your shirt off. It's not going to be weird, though. It's
No,
going to
no.
be scary.
yeah, real scary.
but like it's also, I mean, like like when she's like screaming, there's some of the screaming that is like kind of in a sexual way.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
there's
Yeah, it
some
gets kinda
awkward
sexual.
shots of her kind of
Enjoying it
writhing.
almost?
Yeah, and
Almost,
it's
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's like the creepiest part to
Right.
me. It's just
Yeah.
like the ugh, it's
Yeah.
cringe-worthy.
It is.
Yeah.
It's really the only reason why I can't be like, hey, Dad, let's watch Evil Dead.
Except for this one scene, I'm just gonna really quick.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the
fast-forward
bathroom
okay,
for
no.
5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Oh, what happened while I was gone?
Dad, we're gonna watch Evil Dead, but we're gonna watch my VHS copy. Don't ask questions. No, you can't watch it on DVD. I've got this special VHS we're gonna watch.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
And then in 7 days, you're going to die.
Why the ring?
I don't know.
VHS.
You said VHS.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
There you go.
Okay, well let's move on. I want to talk. I was going to save this for later on in the episode, but it's really the thing that I'm most excited for in this thing. I just want to talk about Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, yeah.
Cause it's funny. While I was
It's like
watching,
no wonder you see him. You're like no wonder he has a career. Like,
yeah, but the greatest thing about it is like I'm watching this at work, and every single person walked by. I was like, "Oh, Bruce Campbell! Look at how young he is!"
That was exactly what I said the first time too.
And he is. He was young. He
Yeah.
had a wicked unibrow.
Hey, he was still Bruce Campbell. We talk about people who nailed their tone and their
Yeah.
first effort. Like
Yeah.
Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell.
Oh yeah. The one thing I'll say about Bruce Campbell in this versus Bruce Campbell everywhere else is that he didn't quite have his humor down as much. He had his physical humor down.
Yeah.
But it was Evil Dead. It has a lot more of the hey baby.
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
quintessential Bruce Campbell stuff. That's not really in this
He
one.
starts to hit it a little later on in the film.
He
towards
does,
the end.
yeah.
When especially when his character gets very emotionally agitated.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I think that's the only way Bruce Campbell can show emotions, maybe as an actor, is that sort of awkward, cheesy, with a little bit of cheesiness,
A little
but-
cheesy, a little
yeah.
sarcastic.
Yeah.
But I think it works. And like,
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where I can see why when Fede Alvarez wanted to make the remake, he's like, we're just not doing Ash because you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a smart choice for the remake. Like you just
Oh, yeah.
you can't be Bruce Campbell. And then you go
Yeah.
back, watch this movie, you watch this one, Evil Dead, Army of Darkness. It's like, yeah, he's just that good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you get to see, like, over the course of the series, how damaged he becomes as a person. Like, in
Oh,
the very
yeah.
first film, he's a normal guy. Like, I love this
Yeah.
woman, pretty basic.
Yeah,
and then
he's
by
a-
the TV series, he's like this.
He's a crazy person.
He's a crazy. Yeah, he is.
He's a crazy man living in an RV.
Yeah, yeah.
But interestingly enough, would you say that he's ever had a career outside of being Ash, though?
I mean, he was
No.
on, what was that show?
He's
Notice?
on some
Butch
shows,
Cassidy, wasn't it?
but-
Butch
But you
Cassidy.
can't really think of anything other than Ash.
The Western.
Yeah.
though.
The Western one.
Bubba Hotep?
Well,
There-
Bubba Hotep.
There's
Yeah,
that
that's
Western
great.
one that he was on.
But I always feel
It's
like
not
people.
Butch Cassidy. It's it starts with a B.
The Adventures of Briscoe County.
Thank you, Briscoe
County
County
Jr.
Jr.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
I've never
I've
heard that
never
name
watched
right
it
now.
either,
Yeah.
so I have no idea what the performance
It was
like.
a fun show.
I know the
But
name.
I mean, he was, to some extent, he was like the Western version of Ash. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
to your point,
So-
stands.
With the exception of, I'd say, Burn Notice, I would say, yeah. I mean, I don't think you're wrong, but I don't think that's a bad thing either.
If it ain't broke, don't fix
That's
it.
right.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's the equivalent of like Schwarzenegger. You hire Schwarzenegger to be Schwarzenegger.
That's right.
Even in
Yeah.
Congo,
Yeah.
he played Ash.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In
all of the 2 minutes he
Yeah,
was in
exactly.
it.
But my point is that even though he's always just been Ash, he is the only character out of this whole franchise to have a career.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's interesting always, when there's a real one-hit wonder and the actors don't go on to do anything.
yeah.
They're all traumatized from the making of this movie, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, as a film industry crew member, I could speak to that too. If you do a one really shitty low budget horror movie out in the woods where you're sleeping in the cabin where you're shooting with 13 crew members in your bedroom,
freezing cold weather,
freezing cold in the mud overnights, you might not do another movie.
Yeah, I really wouldn't blame anyone.
Yeah.
But I kind of had that feeling about everyone in the film industry. Anyone who quits, I'm like, when I was in my 20s or like early 20s, if you quit, I'm like, you quitter, man, you're giving up the dream.
Kinda.
Now in my 30s, I'm kind of like, yeah, it makes sense.
But these guys all were in their early 20s when they filmed this.
Yeah, totally.
And why did only Sam Raimi keep doing other stuff?
I mean, everyone in post kept doing things and went on to win Academy Awards and be these huge fucking people.
Because they were in their office in LA while they were shooting. I don't know.
Minnesota, actually.
Minnesota.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They cut this in Minnesota. That's how I met Joel Cohen. But yeah, it's interesting to kind of think about it from that point of view, because like I worked on the low budget shitty horror films, but I was working at a house in like, I don't remember, somewhere near Hollywood, and it's like, I get to go home at the end of every day. But if I had to stay in that fucking house the whole time, good God, I would have quit.
I've definitely done that a couple times. Stayed in the house where we're shooting.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that for not low budget horror films. I did that like short films back in college. So,
Yeah.
hey, we're gonna go out to Lombard. Do you want to drive back to Chicago? No, not really. All right, then you're sleeping in the basement.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. But yeah, it's fun. Like it's fun depending on the movie. Like if you have like a good like family unit,
Yeah.
it can be a lot of fun. But like from what you hear about the making of this movie, they did not have that.
Right.
It sounds like they were fighting all of the time.
One, I want to talk about the interesting tidbit I did, and hopefully you have a little more, with your extensive research, but that they wrapped principal photography on this and everyone went home except for Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
Maybe that it's that kind of dedication that, led them to this, but I guess they shot a lot of the second half of the movie with stand-ins.
Yep.
And Bruce Campbell and
almost every like cut and shot, if you see a hand, it's Sam Raimi's hand.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to go bother the actors.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
whenever you see like a hand come into the screen, it's just Sam Raimi.
Anything with makeup, I imagine they don't use any of the actors at some point because eventually they all left,
Right.
didn't they?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were like, yeah, bye. It's been
And it's famously like it's Bruce Campbell holding the other end of that 2x4 as they're running through the field with their camera on
Yep.
it, and
Yep.
Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell.
That was one of those things
Stuck it out.
I loved growing up. I was like, how the fuck did they do this shot? And then you find out it's just they threw a camera on a piece of wood and went running.
Yeah.
brilliant.
Hope we don't trip.
It's like really genius kind of like making up shit on the fly.
Well, you
It's
wonder
great.
how they got like half of those shots,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like with 2-3 people. It's amazing.
That's
amazing.
I've said many times, I would watch a movie about the making of this movie as many times as I watched this movie.
Oh yeah, more,
Yeah.
if not
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
Yeah, like the whole thing is just mind blowing.
Yeah.
It's funny. Listen, like they went and custom made these contacts for the girls to have the deadeye eyes. And
Oh, yeah.
and later the guy, and apparently they're the most painful things in the entire world. You can only wear them for 10 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you need to have like 15 to 20 minutes off of just letting your eyes breathe. Is
Right.
what they say.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
That just
Yeah.
sounds horrible.
I mean, the guy we record in a special effects makeup shop, and these
Yeah.
guys have told me before that just any kind of normal colored contacts too, like will irritate the crap out of your eyes. And I can't imagine like the ones that cover your whole eyeball.
Oh yeah, and I can't imagine you can see through them either.
No, you
Didn't
definitely
they say
can't.
it was like having a Tupperware on your eyes?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my
Yeah.
God.
yeah.
That sounds
I've had to wear a
worst.
pair of really thick contacts, and it was the worst.
Yeah,
I for a while I was worried I permanently damaged my eyes because I wore them for far too long a time.
Oh jeez.
20
Like, it was
minutes.
like it was a couple hours.
Oh,
I had them
wow.
in my eyes, and we didn't have any drops.
Yeah,
so.
and now they just like film you and then take a little mouse and color you in post.
Yep.
Yeah, now it's a pretty easy thing.
Yeah.
But I think that's partially why. I mean, I'm be interested if we had people around the table today that aren't involved in the film industry at all, like if they enjoy this movie as much as like, because all the people I know who love it are just super film nerds.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason we enjoy it so much is you can think about like how did you make this
For sure.
Yeah.
like
Right.
like you can see somebody throwing up and you can see a little hose behind their mouth and it's kind of like this is fun, I love all this. But without that, is it still as much fun?
I think
I
you
think
can
so.
You
I
can
think
be a
so.
Yeah.
film nerd without being in the film industry. You
Well,
know,
yeah,
people
but
love
I
watching
mean, like-
behind the scenes.
But you mean
and
just like
stuff.
the
But I mean, like
person
just
who-
like a regular schmo who's like, I like Star Wars. Would he get the same level of enjoyment out of this that we do, or that other film nerds do?
I think the people that did watch it at that like closer to that time were kind of there for it, kind of have fond memories of it.
Yeah.
That's gonna be more along the lines of that. Not like how did it get made, but more like that was a really fun cheesy horror film. Or
Yeah.
people who actually like horror films just in general, they'd be like, oh, that's really fun.
Because if you look up reviews at the time of this movie, they said it was scary as hell.
Yeah.
Really?
which I think is very interesting because I watch it now and I laugh.
Well, people freaked the F out when the great train robbery when it came right towards the screen.
Of course.
Well, so like that's a different time.
Right, right.
No, but
Like
like we know what movies are. So.
Yeah, those were cave people.
But
What is this light thing that's shining on the wall?
But the picture's moving. Oh my god!
Kill it. The point
Why
being,
is there traded my living room?
shoot at it.
the point being is it's great to see what's scary as time goes on.
Oh yeah.
And that the fact that people were really freaked out by this, and then even our other movies as we watched them at the time, people were freaking out. Like Paranormal Activity, people just freaked the F out during that preview screening. Blair Witch coming up. You know, it's like
We picked good movies.
Yeah. So during these times, they're all like freaked out, and now we're just kind of like, oh yeah, that was fun.
Well, you have to think most films at the time were really trying to copy Halloween, and that sort of grungy kind of film. People were fighting people with knives, and there was like really dirty and cheap. And this had something very different. This had something, you had deadites and demons like running around and people getting possessed, which was not necessarily being done as much, I don't think, at that time.
I mean,
a little bit.
Honestly, I'd say a little bit, but I don't know. The thing that I think was actually scary about this one is how much like joy the demons have. Like watching the Deadites. I can imagine if I hadn't been such like a horror film, like I love all of this. Just like the scene with I forget her name now because I'm horrible. But the girl sitting on the floor, just like, that's a creepy image.
creepy.
Just looking at it, it's just. And I love everything about it. I love how they can snap back and forth between Deadite and like, oh Ash, I'm okay now. Don't let them take me back.
Yeah.
I could see how it can kind of like worm its way into your brain of like, no, it actually was kind of creepy.
Yeah. The first time I saw it, that was actually one of the scenes that kind of creeped me out, was that scene. Yeah.
It's one of those good scenes where you, as an audience member, you can yell like, "Don't trust her, Bruce."
Yeah.
Right?
She's coming to get you.
Well, there's we're talking about that scene. The other great scene is at the beginning, the romantic scene where he's got the necklace and they're playing the eye game. The ugliest necklace ever. Like, what is that thing? It's not a mirror. It's just a piece of glass.
Is it a magnifying glass?
Like a
magnifying glass.
Okay, sure.
It's so lovely, Ashley. I'm like, no, it's not. It's stupid.
Ash sucks. Dump him now.
Right? Don't leave the cabin because there's demons. Leave the cabin because he has bad taste.
Yeah, right.
He obviously doesn't know you.
Right, exactly. He doesn't care. Come on. Most selfish. You get to see what he becomes like later on. That selfish human being because of the gift that he gave.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it works.
No, I don't know.
You can make that reach. It works.
That's a reach.
I'll take it.
I'm fishing. No, the gameplay between the eyes, the open and closed eyes. Then when they go back later on, and he's like going to bury her. They do that open and closed eyes thing again.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah.
It's so
It's
much
fucking
fun.
brilliant. It's
It's
awesome.
great.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Although the only reason it works is because they called back to it. Because when I'm watching I kind of forgot about the callback when I was watching this time, and during the actual scene, I'm like, "Come on,
This is lame.
this is real dumb."
They got the music is really overcooked, like overbaked. I mean,
Just like that
really
necklace.
It's like, all right, come on, get to the point.
But I don't know. Watching this kind of thing, it re-inspires me to be a filmmaker.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is one of those movies that you watch and go like, "Fuck, I could have been doing this the whole time."
Right.
I know. Doesn't it make you feel like a piece of shit when you're like, oh, I'm in my 30s
Yeah, it really.
and I've done fuck all?
Yeah. It's like, I have a podcast. Like, God damn it.
I've got 8
Everybody's
followers.
got a podcast. Sorry, guys. I'm getting glares now.
No. It's the thing about it is like it's interesting listening to the people because I know people who have done this exact same thing and it didn't work. Like who just went to everyone they know, asked for all the money, they made their movie, they tried it, and then
Where was Stephen King?
Right. Yeah.
Where was Stephen
Exactly.
King?
Yeah, because they end up filing for bankruptcy and then they take a normal job, and it's like it doesn't work for everybody.
It doesn't like Kevin Smith is like one of those moments.
He
like,
maxed out every card he had, his parents' cards, his friends' cards, the crew's cards, and then it worked.
And it could have very well gone the opposite way.
Yes,
But it turns out he and Sam Raimi are both good at something.
Yeah.
That's the trick. You have to be good at something.
Yeah.
Like especially writing. If you can write dialogue.
Well, it's the mixture of talent and luck, and like this one was the luck of he's obviously talented because he's still making movies now, and then the luck of just like, oh, I'm gonna wander into this edit shop and I need somebody to help cut this thing. What's your name? Oh, Joel Cohen. Oh yeah, why don't we just? Oh, fuck.
You're a genius.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a lot of luck.
But you got to be a likable guy too. I imagine. I know Kevin Smith had to have been, to get all those favors. And Sam
From
Raimi,
what I hear, he
imagine
still
it's the
is.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like
and you know, even if you're going to ruin relationships over the course of this shitty movie, you go into it by getting people drawn in. Like I love going on Craigslist and seeing people who are like, I'm making a labor of love, and I need a free cameraman and a free sound man and a free makeup artist and a free editor. And it's like, dude, where are your friends?
Yeah.
You have no friends.
Yeah. And they're also dicks.
Yeah. Like that's you're on my passion project. It's like, well, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
Good luck.
A fascinating documentary to watch is the one about the Boondock Saints.
The
Oh, I
director.
really want to.
The director, because it's very much the opposite of this. You get like he's a dick the whole way through, and then basically burns every bridge.
Yeah.
What's that? And what is the other one? American Movie of the guys who did this, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
And you're just watching it, and like as a filmmaker, you're watching, going, "I've done all of this. This
Yeah.
is me.
Yeah.
Fuck."
Which maybe makes those important in that you can see that this was a flash in the pan. This was a lightning strike. It's not always going to happen like this.
No, and I think that's an important thing to know as a 30-year-old who this didn't work for. But for like, it's still this. It's fun watching it work, and like it's fun watching. The Evil Dead for me is one of those movies that I will watch again and again because it is the best example of it working.
Yeah.
It's magical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
In the truest sense of it.
Yeah,
And it's not like the one smart thing they didn't just jump in and start asking for money. They made a short film
Within the Woods,
half an hour, which I haven't seen. I tried to. It was taken off YouTube, and I tried to watch it.
I don't know where you can find it, but I
Email
watched
us,
it.
email us and tell us.
Yeah, I know there's somewhere you can find it.
Yeah. But anyway, they made that, and it was they used that to get other people's money,
And
as opposed to digging themselves a hole.
Right.
So they were, and they had to stop filming and go find more money and da. So they went through the process, and they really worked to get this done, as opposed to just like grabbing a camera and crossing your fingers and spending a bunch of your own money and hoping something works out.
Starting a Kickstarter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they famously they made the template of what people still to this day copy of make a short or make a trailer
Yeah.
and then try to go get money. And
Right,
it was
exactly.
Sam Raimi who did it first. And
Yeah.
but they did it well. And it's funny, if you read the whole story about it, they brought it to the friend of the family who was a lawyer who had buckets of money. Like, hey, this is the film we want to make. He's like, yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you money. But this is how you should go ask for money. And then
Yeah.
he gave them a template to go ask for money, and they got it.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where it's like the luck factor of like, I know somebody who to tell me how to go finance this movie
Sure.
is great, which a lot of people don't have.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is the horror version of like Sing Street.
Well, John Carney has Academy Awards under his
Yeah.
belt, so I think he has a little
No,
bit.
I mean the plot of the story. Just
Oh, okay, yeah.
This is terrible.
Oh, yeah.
This is
Okay, I
terrible.
got
You're
you.
gonna get better.
Yeah.
And here's how you get better.
Yeah. Now, the other thing I was going to ask as we're sitting on the table, now, we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, you mentioned, but as actors, if somebody came to you with this role, like this movie, would you have done it?
Obviously,
Yeah.
yes. Every
But-
fucking actor will take anything that they can get, especially when they're that young and in the beginning.
No,
right?
I mean now. So now knowing what you know, knowing that you're going to be out in the
Oh.
woods for 3 to 4 months,
shit.
next to no pay for this sort of thing. Would
So
you
any
take?
horror film now that's being made. Really.
Well, I have had terrible experiences working for no pay on a crappy horror movie. So,
Oh, you too.
yeah, I think we've all been there.
I don't think you work in LA in film and not have that experience at least
Yeah.
once.
True.
Yeah, I think it's true. That's how everybody gets their start. Like, hey, do you want to be in this horror film? Well, not really, but how much will you give me? We'll feed you for a week. Oh my God, yes! I'm on board.
I don't have enough of that anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Phil, have you gotten your horror movie out of your way?
I haven't really been in any horror movies. I've had horrific experiences on movies, if that counts.
It's close.
But I haven't really done a horror film. It would depend on the person asking.
Yeah.
Like if it was somebody who was genuinely
There you go.
excited and had a vision, and I'll do that. Sure, that's awesome.
We've had 2 horror movie directors on our show. Jackson Stewart and Hunter.
Yeah.
And they make low budget horror films, but it's great talking to these people who like they're not making like huge films by any stretch of the imagination, but it's fun talking to the guys who make horror films who just love doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like those are the guys if I was an actor that I would want to work for.
Yep.
Right.
Like cuz their movies aren't huge, they don't make a shitload of money, and they don't have the best reviews in the world, although I've heard that Beyond the Gates is doing really well. I haven't actually read a review for it yet. But it'd be fun to work with those sorts of people who are just like the love for the actual film. And I think when we're talking about something like Evil Dead, that's kind of what you got. You got just like a love for horror. Like
Yeah.
clearly this
Yeah.
is what Sam Raimi wanted to make, was just a really cool, hard-nosed horror film.
If you read, he didn't even like horror films. He was more of a comedy guy.
Yeah, which
And,
I mean, he was what was it? Three Stooges? Was
yeah,
his,
Three
like, big
Stooges
thing?
is
And
one of his big things.
You
and,
totally
yeah.
get that, just from
especially in
physical.
Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
They really embraced that. But yeah, he didn't. He thought Halloween was terrifying. He didn't like. If you read the interviews,
Oh wow.
he says that he doesn't like scary movies. He doesn't like being scared. He hates it.
That's funny.
But he went to a bunch of horror films with Rob Tapert,
Right.
and a bunch of it's funny because the way he talks about it, he was like, I can't make something as good as that as Halloween. I don't think anybody can. But when they saw the bad horror films, he'd be like, I can make something better than that. Yeah. And he watched enough that he learned from just watching films. He didn't have to go to like a film school to learn that.
Bastard.
You know, it was
Son of a bitch.
I know, right?
I'm
still in debt.
I feel like a lot, like with this, like when the original Blob came out, people were terrified of that, and it's it's a blob. I mean, like, you know what I mean? But it's like talking about like where we've come with horror and like seeing something like, okay, like I see what they did there. I feel like I can like bump it up a notch, and then like that'll be like the new thing to shoot for, and then it just ends up working. And now it's like totally ridiculous, but I think it's just like a testament to like all these like practical gags that they do and everything that now like. I think we kind of take those things for granted in film because now everything is done on a computer. And I think that if nothing else, you have to respect a movie like this for like all of the things that they had to do, like the makeup and the special effects and everything that they put into that now like we're kind of spoiled by. Like we don't have to do all of those things necessarily. Like it'd be great if we do, and I know some filmmakers are going back to that, which is great. And not to say that special effects aren't super dope, but I think we're a little bit spoiled in that we have the ability to like make a movie super scary because we can just fabricate something on a computer that's terrifying without having to like mold it or get gallons of fake blood or which is, I think, like the novelty of it is like what makes it.
Well, even just the fear of technology is woven so great into horror film. Just that whole fear of fear of technology taking over.
Yeah.
It's just like, we're spoiled, but it's also just a huge feast of horror. I think it's the one genre that I still really like, and I haven't like dipped my enjoyment of.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of go back and forth because I mean, horror movies always gonna be like one of my favorite things, but like it's one of the things where like when it's done well, it's my favorite movie of the year.
Yeah,
like that's why Babadook was my favorite movie of that year. I know
that
Phil wasn't a big fan.
I wasn't a huge fan.
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan.
I still think it's fantastic, but it's like one of those things where it's
it
like
scared the crap out of
I
me.
thought it was so good. That was great. The Witch was great. Like they're just like
The Witch was great. I'll agree with
Yeah.
I'm there with you on that one.
But I want to go back to Evil Dead a little bit and talk just a little bit more about it before we move into quotes and whatnot. I just want to go around the table. What was like your favorite moment in the whole movie, if we haven't touched it already? I'll start with Jamie.
Gosh, me? I gotta start right now.
Because you don't want to, I'm gonna go with yes. You have to start right now.
I don't really know. I just like I don't really know. Like I have to say, like talking about like we're gonna choose a favorite quote. Thinking about this movie, I don't really know if I have a favorite quote from this because like I mean like it really like peaked in like Evil Dead 2. Like that was like when all the humor came in. Like if you like the way that the acting was done in this movie and everything, like where it was kind of cheeseball and the lines were not like super dynamic to like push the story forward. There's literally a scene where Scott tells one of the girls like something about hitting her in the face, like I'm gonna knock your block off, or like he says something along those lines.
It was my quote. It's, I'm gonna break your face.
Yeah.
And then everybody laughs.
Exactly. Like I'm sorry to steal your
So
thunder
that's your
on
favorite
that.
I'll say it
scene.
again.
But it's just like it was I saw that scene and I just like I had to laugh, and at the same time I was like, this is not funny. Like it's not funny because like we're
Little
in
laugh, little cry.
we're in a point where like we're saying it's okay to hit women. Like we're making a joke of
Yeah.
it in this film, which is like, but it's like, and honestly, like that's not a funny line, really. It's
No,
in
not
the
at all.
context where it's funny. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so like I feel like a lot of the movie is like that. Like Evil Dead 2 to me, I think is pretty quotable, but this was just like a buildup of like I said, the first time I saw it, being like, oh, is this serious or not? And I sort of feel like when I watched it again recently, that's still how I felt about it. Like,
it's a little column A, a little column B. It's a serious comedy of horror and blood, guts, and gore.
I think it's a horror that knows what it is. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
The thing that I will say about that is I don't think it knew what it was when it was being made. I think they figured it out in post.
Yeah, I think they figured it out in the process a bit. Yeah.
I think that's why the beginning is so staunchly different than the second half, because they kind of figured it out as they went along.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I guess. I mean, I don't know for sure, but that's my feeling of it. Phil, what about you? What's your favorite takeaway in this movie? Favorite part?
I think my favorite scene is there's the moment where the kind of the preppy boyfriend, the heroic one, supposedly Scotty, thank you, is telling Ash to hit her with the axe, and Ash is like standing there scared to death holding this axe, and he's not Ash yet.
Not at all.
And there's this great moment where you see him as this kind of coward.
Yep.
And I love it because and you see that again and again throughout the series, is he's always has to be pushed to the point where he has to take action, otherwise he just won't. He doesn't want to. And I think in this first film, it's because he's like literally afraid. And I think later on, he just doesn't want to deal with it anymore. He's been through hell.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just want to smoke some weed and screw some chicks. And can I be left alone?
Yeah.
And it's that hero's journey he has to take over and over and over and over again for different reasons.
Right.
So that's my favorite moment in the film, is seeing him as
I love the follow. I love him hitting her with the axe. That sounds really horrible to say, but I love the way they shot it. Like he hits
From
her,
behind.
the thing just falls down, and then just somebody just below the camera just blood.
Yeah.
It's great.
Ryan, do you have a favorite moment in this movie?
Yeah, we kind of talked about it earlier. It's one of the moments where it gets scary again, and it's
the tree rape scene.
That's so early in the movie. No, the scene where he's like, I think he's getting ready to kill her, and she turns from a demon back into a person again.
Yeah, when she's sitting on the floor.
Yeah.
Don't let him take me again, Ash.
Yeah.
And then from the cellar, it's like, I'm okay now.
Yeah.
That's great.
That whole scene was really good.
Do you have a favorite one, Ron?
Yeah, when he's in the cellar and that pipe just spews blood all over him. And it's just like the start of every actor that Raimi deals with having to do that to them. Just like that whole, just you're going to be spewed on constantly for about 2 minutes. And it's just like, I laughed so hard during that scene because I was like, it's dripping. Don't take the pipe. It's going to...
Yeah.
Yep. I still think the girl from Drag Me to Hell got it the worst out of everyone in every movie. Though. Every other scene, it's like, oh God,
I laughed every time.
That poor girl. I think my favorite moment in this entire movie, it's kind of a weird one to bring up, but I honestly, there's something about it that's always so memorable for me. I was talking about it earlier, the constant, the yelling scene. And I love it when the girl's on the ground, she takes the pencil and stabs her in the ankle.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. It's just like, it is one of those, this movie is fucking relentless. And you mentioned for 1981, it's still just, you watch, it's exhausting. It's just a constant onslaught.
You mentioned earlier the glee aspect of just how these deadites, these demons, are so gleeful in their torture. The filmmaking in that specific shot is gleeful.
Yeah.
And just, you stare at that pencil the whole time.
Well, because
she pulls and pulls and pulls.
She nails in the ankle, and they cut away to her screaming oh God, that's the end of it. And they cut back, and she's just digging into the ankle.
The foot is just stretching. Too. The skin is just being pulled apart.
For me, out of all these movies, all of them, that's the one scene whenever I think of Evil Dead, that's the first thing that comes to mind is ow!
Ow, and covered in blood.
So my boyfriend he's never seen any of the Evil Dead films, and because he doesn't like scary movies at all. So when I told him I was going to do the podcast, I was like, I was talking about it, and he's like, oh, I've never seen that. And I was like, where the fuck are you from? Who the fuck hasn't seen this movie? So we put it on, and we ended up not finishing it. We got just after the ankle scene. He's literally with the couch pillow,
oh my God,
watching it, covering his eyes, and I'm like, "Are you really scared?" And he's like, "Well, I just don't really like scary movies like this. I don't know." And I'm like. And I'm just cracking up through the whole thing. I'm like, oh my God, it's so cheesy. And I'm just laughing through the whole thing. And he's legitimately scared. And so then like this ankle thing happens, and I'm like, okay, well, I could see where, you know, you'd be a little bit uncomfortable by that.
Yeah.
And then he was like, I got to turn this off because I got to go to bed soon, and I need to get up really early, and I just know I'm not going to be able to sleep.
Nice.
It did its job.
It's nice that it's still effective.
And he hasn't even finished it yet. So.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say he hasn't slept since.
No, this was just like a few days ago, so he hasn't seen the rest of the movie yet. Like we stopped it like right after that scene, and so I need to force him to
He needs to
finish
finish
it.
Yeah.
gotta
Just
finish
watch
all
it like
three.
just watch it during the day.
Yeah.
I almost wish I would have just started him on Evil Dead 2 to be like, this
Yeah.
is going to set the tone for the other two. Like,
Yeah.
it just so like if you really like this, then you can go back and you watch Evil Dead and like you see where it starts, and that's what's cool about it. Like
Yeah.
then you like get it. But
It's nice knowing that people are still afraid of this movie.
I know.
That's kind
Well, I
of
guess
cool.
that answers
I
our earlier
was-
discussion that
Yeah,
like, it can
it's
still be effective.
Yeah, it's still effective.
Yeah.
It's funny when the first time I made Chewie watch Drag Me to Hell, it had the same thing where I'm laughing, him having a good time, and she looks like physically uncomfortable. I'm like, are you serious? Like, what? It's a scary movie. I'm like, is it? There's a shadow demon walking up the stairs. Like,
Yeah.
dee. I guess it's scary. Yeah,
And
she's-
she just vomited the evilness into her face. You know, it's like, yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I thought it was funny, but whatever. All right, so it's time for quotes. Since mine's already been said, I'll go first because I had to, which was now I'm forgetting how it went. What was it?
And you corrected us, too.
I know because I heard her start saying it, and then I'm like, wait, no, that's mine. And now, oh yeah,
I'm gonna break your face.
I'm gonna break your face. It is such a product of its time.
Well, and that it's like Sam Raimi was like, okay, I just want you guys to banter and improv something, and that guy was just like, I'm gonna break your face, and everybody's like, we have to laugh.
They're like,
Oh, that's funny. Get out of this relationship.
well, no, I feel like in that scene, like it's kind of, that's it. Like he says it, and then it's just kind of like there's like a quiet pause after that where they just like the focus shifts, and so it's like
got away
everybody
with
just turn around and do something else now.
Hey, how's that
I
fire
know.
going?
We won't invite him next time. I'll go if you guys are still looking yours up. Mine is one of the best moments where the future of Bruce Campbell shines through, and he becomes Ash for the first time, and he goes, "Shut up, Linda."
Yes, it's great.
I've got one.
Okay.
After the, I think it's Shelley burning. She's burning a little bit, and he pulls her away from the fire, and she's like, "Thank you. I don't know what I would have done if I'd remained on those hot coals, burning my pretty flesh."
That
was like demon sarcasm. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Mine is one of those early Ash moments where you can really start to see the real Ash. You bastards, why are you torturing me like this? Why? Like there's that self-defeat sort of.
Yep.
Oh, he's so good.
That's a good one.
That guilty conscience, all that stuff. It's great.
I really love the scene where Shelley is saying about Cheryl, why does she keep making those horrible noises? And Ash is like, I don't know. And Shelley's like, look at her eyes. Look at her eyes. And it's like, it's great because I feel like her delivery is like it's believable, but there's something about it that's kind of like this melodramatic sort of soap opera delivery in
yeah,
it, which
it's hysterical.
which
Yeah.
I love. Like
It's
about like
alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Harkening to that.
It's so necessary.
great.
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's time for the review system, which I've been having a lot of trouble coming up for this one.
I wonder why.
It's a tough one because like I want to say Sam Raimi movies, but that one seems too easy.
Yeah.
Single location horror films, but that one seems too
That's
hard.
all of them.
That's not all of them.
No, I know,
but
almost.
that's a difficult one. I guess we could try to go for that one. Do you think you guys can handle that one? Single location horror films.
It requires a little bit of editing on your part, but we can work through it.
All of them do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go with that. So horror movies that take place in one location is the idea, and I'll be very loosey goosey with
Sure.
that. No one's gonna use this movie, but if you were to use something like The Forest with the girl from Game of Thrones, I'd count The Forest as one location. Although it's a huge chunk of land, it all takes place in
one
the
thing.
forest.
So does the
Yeah.
Earth count?
If the name of the movie was Earth, then let it go. Like I said, I'll be loosey goosey.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go with the obvious one who took so much from this movie, Cabin in the Woods.
Good choice.
It's another movie, another horror movie about a cabin in the woods, and it gets really silly, even though there are some good scary parts. And they just obviously took a lot from Sam Raimi and their inspiration.
Okay. I have one locked and loaded. If somebody else doesn't have one,
Go for it.
I'm gonna go for Cabin Fever.
Oh, another good
That's
one.
what I was about.
That's what I was gonna. I was gonna. I didn't want to take somebody's,
Should've
but
gone early.
now I did.
No, that's fine.
But it's similar. It's just because it's clearly another person very, very influenced by Sam Raimi. But it's another movie that didn't have a lot of money behind it, but it was a lot of fun. And if you watch it thinking it's a horror movie, you might get scared. But if you watch it kind of going, this is supposed to be kind of funny,
Right.
you'll still kind of laugh your way through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it also has a disgusting, horrible rape scene in it, much like Evil Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing like fingering a leg wound.
Oh, yeah.
Yay!
I just can't. I can't think of that movie without thinking of the bathtub shaving scene. That's like the best. The best horror movie scene.
Man, that's a gross movie.
It's so good. So good.
All right, I got one. Okay. A little bit of a stretch, but Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking love that movie, man.
That's great.
That delights and glees in its evisceration of all its cast.
I've got one. And this is actually something that influenced Raimi, I think. The Hills Have Eyes.
Oh,
Ooh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
So if you like some of that early Wes Craven stuff like that, or Last House on the Left.
Oh, yeah. Another good one.
Like,
That's another one,
I mean, very much. We probably enjoy this.
Oh, that movie is so good.
I don't think I can ever watch Last House on the Left again. I've watched it enough. I've seen it enough. I know what happens.
If I'm going to
Done.
watch it again, I'm going to skip
Yeah.
to the twist.
Yeah, the
Or
second
I
half.
would call it a turn. It's not
Yeah,
really
the
a plot
turn I will
twist.
watch again. But my God, I don't need to watch that girl get raped again. Like that is one of the most brutal
Yeah.
things I've ever
It's
seen.
a rough one,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, it's a solid made movie, but no, I never need to watch it again. I'm good. I've seen it.
Well, the difference is, though, there's really no comedy, I guess, in the Wes Craven films.
No.
Well, there is in Last House on the Left because they had
Oh,
to
the
because it
music.
was the music of the cops suddenly became
Yeah.
a little corny and fun.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Because it was so fucking hard to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, that movie. Like I feel awful watching it.
Watch
whole
the
time.
original Bergman film, The Virgin Spring, if you haven't.
Mm,
It's
oh,
also
yeah.
really great. Which Last House on the Left is based on.
I'm not going to watch it then.
Well, no, it's not. It's not graphic.
Oh, then maybe I will.
It's more. I mean, Craven took this really great sort of art house film and said, "I'm going to brutalize it and make it awful and
He
horrible."
did.
And yeah,
He
so,
really did.
yeah.
Jamie, do you have one?
Well, I kind of can't stop thinking about the movie that I was in because it was extremely cheesy, and it was watching Evil Dead, I realized they stole fucking everything from this movie. But I don't want to be that asshole. So
Go ahead.
It's like
It's
it's
totally
the
fine.
only thing I could think of, like that
Judgment,
immediately.
no judgment. No
No
judgment.
judgment
Top of my
here.
head.
Judgment from the audience,
No,
maybe. But who cares about them?
Yeah.
No, but there is. I'm gonna throw a wild card out there. There's a Japanese horror film called Infection, and it takes place in a hospital, and it's about this horrible rotting body comes in to the hospital, and there's just a sheet over it, so you don't really know what's going on with it or what's wrong with the person, but it comes into the emergency room, and then from that, it kind of starts to spread to this hysteria kind of starts to spread to the nurses
awesome.
and stuff. And there's but it's sort of that kind of cheesy in a way, or things that are just gross to be gross. There's a scene where a nurse is, and I don't know why they had this sitting around, but she's eating pieces of skin out of a jar with chopsticks.
Awesome.
It's really, really
Sounds-
gross.
Sounds like early.
Yummy.
Well, obviously,
Peter
hospitals have-
Jackson.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's I would compare it to Evil Dead only because there's these, kind of weird sort of,
Just
practical
gross outs.
practical effects and
Sounds awesome.
You just-
cheesy kind of horror makeup and stuff as the infection's
great.
kind of spreading. And
Well, you just reminded me of another Japanese film that everybody at this table should watch if you haven't. It's called House.
I've never watched House.
It's-
But it's been on my
House. Yeah, it's
it's been on
great.
my queue for a long time.
That's great. And
We have the
then-
criteria, and so I haven't watched it
nice.
yet.
Oh, it's amazing. And that, and if you're also a fan of Evil Dead, go back and watch House on Haunted Hill. I think that's the Robert
yeah.
Wise one. You see a lot of Sam Raimi's sort of
the
camera-
original, the black and white
the black and white
one?
one.
Oh,
You
yeah.
see Sam Raimi's
Oh,
camera
so
work
good.
up the walls as you hear sounds.
That's in
and
my
a
that's
lot
in
of Evil
my
Dead 2
31
stuff.
Days of Horror calendar.
Awesome.
It
Oh,
comes up next week
yeah, it's
sometime. Yeah.
you'll see Sam Raimi all over that. great.
I've never actually watched it the whole way through, so I've just seen clips. Like I've seen the clip, like the old woman, like, and then, like floating out the door a bunch.
Right.
It's pretty awesome. As soon as you mentioned Peter Jackson, I got physically uncomfortable thinking about the arm goo and porridge scene.
God, yeah.
God damn, that scene grossed me out.
That's one of the only movies that I took a bite of pizza during one scene, and the tomato sauce would like spread throughout my mouth as like something gross was happening on screen. I almost wanted to throw. That's the only movie I've ever seen that I've wanted to throw up during because of that.
Yeah.
The fucking lawnmower on the chest
I almost
running
lost
through
it.
the room. It's
amazing.
wonderful and horribly gross
It's
at the
amazing.
same time.
Yeah.
God, I want to watch it again though. Okay, so time for plugs as we bring this episode to a close. Stick around after plugs for the answer to this question. If you could put Ash in any other movie, what movie would you put him in? I'm going to take Freddy vs. Jason off the table. So something other than that, because
That's already been
Does it
done.
have
It's
to
been
be a
done in
horror
comics.
movie?
I
It's been
think.
done in comics, and it doesn't have to be a horror movie. Any movie in the world.
I only want to put him in horror movies.
Yeah, hey, that's your right.
Yeah.
So again, you can
I
find
know what
us
to say.
on Twitter at ATH_podcast. You can find us on Facebook at After the Hype, and everywhere else online at ATH Podcast. Email us at athpodcast@gmail.com. Jamie, where can people find you?
I am at therealblonde.com.
That's REEL, right?
Yes.
Cool.
And then the BLONDE.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's also an Instagram under that. I'd give you my email, but I don't want weird photos to start
You don't want
flooding
dick
my
pics?
Gmail.
Send all of your emails to us.
Send us the
Follow
dick pics.
Jamie
Yeah,
on
we'll
Instagram.
forward them to Jamie for you.
That's right. We have her email.
We will totally do that 100%.
Just make sure you say which ones are for her, and then we'll forward them on.
Right.
So, Phil, where can people send you dick pics?
Instagram is fine.
Just
Post them up
DM.
live for everybody to see if you're going to do it.
Absolutely.
He will totally reblog those.
Again, Philip, a.k.a. Buddy, on Twitter. Philip Kelly on Facebook. I think it's Philip, a.k.a. Buddy, on Instagram, too. But I've also got Snapper Buddy Comedy for my vaudeville stuff. I've got Flying Sandbox Productions or DeGrupa for my sketch show or my sketch video and film stuff. We're doing another Virgin Mary documentary, which should offend more people, which is great.
Nice.
Perfect.
Nice.
Gotta love
Yeah.
offending people.
Yeah.
Send us those links, and we'll post them in our post for you guys as well.
Yeah, cool.
So now the answer to that question.
The Alien movie, the new one coming up.
Ooh.
The which one? The
Not the
Neil
Blomkamp
Blomkamp
one. Yeah,
the
yeah.
Neil Blomkamp
The
one?
real alien, not the Prometheus.
Okay.
Because I want to see Ash fight a real alien.
That would be
That
would be-
would be awesome.
You know, he wouldn't say the line with distress. He would say the line is equipped to the alien. Game over, man.
Yeah.
Shoot him with a shotgun in the head.
Yeah,
Game over, man.
yeah, that'd be awesome. Except for the fact that his poor chainsaw arm would disintegrate.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But that'd be great to watch happen. Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
He would get a new one every time.
Yeah.
He
Oh.
needs a new one for every alien, a new
Yeah.
chainsaw.
Perfect. John, do you have one?
Watchmen. What's this owl costume you're wearing?
That works.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for
Rorschach breaks him out of jail, and he's like, "Took you long enough."
Yeah. I'm gonna go for the Avengers. I think he'd be a
God
perfect
damn it,
Avenger.
that
I'm
was
sorry.
mine! Fuck.
Just say Avengers 2. It's fine.
There you go. Or I can switch mine to the Justice League. He'll be fine in the Justice League too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, since the Avengers has already been said, I feel compelled to say something new. I don't know. I think I would want Ash to be in a movie like The Fast and the Furious, so that we could have ended it right then and there. You know? Just stop. It's not The Land Before Time. Stop it.
But it should be.
Family, this Vin Diesel.
I own all of them on Blu-ray.
No.
No shame.
You should have shame.
No shame
You should
whatsoever.
have shame.
Oh, I love them so much.
You have Tokyo Drift on Blu-ray.
I do.
I'm
those times
embarrassed for you.
You know those times when like old people say, "No, these are my stories." That's Fast and the Furious for me. It's like, shh, I'm watching my stories.
I know.
I was a projectionist during Tokyo Drift, and I remember it fondly because of that.
Yeah. I remember it fondly because I like the movie.
Oh no! I'm like, this is so gloriously cheesy.
Well, like, think about how different Jurassic Park would have turned out if Ash had been in it.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd have been good.
Well, he didn't affect
Yeah.
Congo at all, so I don't know. Like he got it right away.
Deep Blue Sea,
Deep Blue Sea, right?
the Jurassic Park of shark movies.
Deepest, bluest. My hand is like a shark's fin. Yeah, that's right. That's the LL Cool J song.
What's the lesbian blue?
Blue is the warmest
Blue
color.
is the warmest color, right? Ash in that?
Is that what you're going
No, that's not what I'm going for. God, that's not what I'm going for. That would be amazing, though. I have a lot of runners up, by the way, right now. I like runners up like Saw. I'd love to see Ash like his selfish sort of sensibility in something like Saw.
Yeah.
But that's a runner up.
Precious.
I think Precious, right? Like anything that selfishness just kind of like adds a lot to. I would want to see him in
Schindler's List.
Right? One of those like
I almost said that again.
like what's the one with Morgan Freeman where he's got the class and he's trying to like
Morgan Freeman always has class, okay?
right? No, he's a teacher.
March of Penguins?
What?
This is a penguin.
That would be awesome. Just have penguins and you just have Bruce Campbell walk in the background. Hey guys,
Hey. Or one of those great inspirational basketball movies or something where there's like a
Airbud.
coach.
Hoop Dreams?
Like Hoop Dreams, or you know, is it
Blind Side?
Lean on Me? What is the Morgan Freeman?
yeah.
Yes,
with
yes,
the
Lean on Me.
class?
That's right.
I would like to see
Stand and
Ash
Deliver.
as Stand and Deliver. Maybe that's what it was.
That's not Edward James Olmos.
Yeah,
Oh,
but yeah.
man.
Any of those films, I'd love to see Ash stand up in front of a class and try to inspire them to do something.
So you
perfect.
attach
I think
the,
that would be
the
amazing.
chainsaw to your arm like this.
I'm very disappointed that nobody said Deliverance, which I think would have been the best choice.
Deliverance.
Yes.
Mighty Ducks falls under my category too. I'd
Fair
like
enough.
to see him.
Yep, that works.
that.
Yeah.
Coach of the hockey
Deliverance,
team.
Yes.
Cool
Okay,
running.
so why not?
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Okay, so that's it for today. Tune in next week for the last one of our low-budget horror films before we do our horror movie battle. Next week is The Blair Witch Project, which I'm very excited to talk about.
It's all my fault.
It actually is all your fault because you're the one who requested to talk about it. Okay, so thank you again very much to Jamie and Phil for coming out.
Yeah, thank you.
you.
Thanks for having me.
And bye!